Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 99. Today we're going to be talking about the impact of habits, people, routines, social media, and spaces on your mindset and success. There are seasons in your life where you feel motivated, focused, and aligned. And then there are seasons where everything feels heavy. Even the simplest tasks feel harder than they should. Most people immediately blame themselves. I need more discipline. I need more motivation. I need to work harder. But sometimes the problem is not you. Sometimes the problem is the environment that you're trying to grow in. You cannot consistently grow in environments that constantly drain you. Your environment shapes your energy, your mindset, your habits, your confidence, and your standards, whether you realize it or not. The people around you matter. The conversations that you consume matter. Your routines matter. What you scroll through every day matters. Even the physical spaces that you live in matter. Environments silently train you. If you're around by negativity, chaos, comparison, gossip, excuses, distractions, and constant overstimulation, eventually your mind adapts to that atmosphere. The dangerous part of that is draining environments often feel normal when you've been in them for so long. You stop noticing how exhausted you are. You stop noticing how much social media affects your self-worth. You stop noticing how certain people leave you emotionally depleted every time you talk to them. You stop noticing how cluttered spaces create cluttered thinking. But growth requires that awareness. You have to start asking yourself, what in my life is feeding me and what is draining me? Not every environment deserves access to the future version of you. Some habits are keeping you small. Sorry, not sorry, it needs to be said. Some routines that maybe helped you 5 years ago are not helping you now. They're keeping you stuck. Some relationships are keeping you emotionally exhausted. Some digital environments are training you to constantly compare your life, your real life, to everyone else's highlight reel. And comparison is one of the fastest ways to lose momentum. You start doubting your progress because you're consuming too much of everyone else's success. You become inspired for 5 minutes and discouraged for 5 hours. That's not growth, that's overload. Your mind needs space to think clearly. One of the biggest mindset shifts that you can make is realizing that protecting your environment is not selfish, it's necessary. You don't need to explain why you're distancing yourself from negativity. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need to feel guilt for creating boundaries around your energy. Healthy environments help you become healthier. When you spend time around disciplined people, discipline becomes easier. When you spend time around growth-minded people, your thinking expands. When your routines support your goals, consistency becomes simpler. When your space feels peaceful, your nervous system responds to that peace. Success is not about talent, it's also about exposure. What are you exposing yourself to every single day? Eventually, your environment becomes your identity. You may not be able to change every environment immediately or sometimes at all, but you can start making small shifts. You can clean up your space. You can unfollow accounts that trigger comparison. You can spend less time in conversations that leave you drained. You can create routines that support your mental health instead of sabotaging it. You can choose what enters your mind daily. And I think that is such an important thing to recognize because so often we allow things in that don't need to be in. Maybe it was a conversation with a friend and their thought process on something is impacting you. You don't need to let that in on a daily basis. You can make the choice for what enters your mind. Those small shifts, they create a massive change over time. Sometimes growth or success or just being more aligned in your life, it's not about adding more. It's not about more stuff or more money or more of anything. Sometimes it's actually removing things that just no longer fit. Removing distractions, removing noise, removing habits that numb you, removing environments that keep pulling you backwards. The right environment doesn't just make success easier. It makes healing, clarity, confidence, and peace easier too. So today, I want you to take an honest look at your life. What's growing you? What's draining you? What needs to change so the future version of you can finally breathe? Your environment is never neutral. It's either helping you evolve or it's quietly keeping you stuck. Here are some practical tools for this kind of mindset shift. As always, take this with the supermarket approach. Some of you have recently messaged me or, written comments about, you know, the statement of there's already lazy people. Why would you tell them to rest or that kind of a thing? And I want to encourage you to listen to the whole episode and treat it with a supermarket approach. Take what applies to you and keep going. Number one, an environment audit. Write down the 5 environments that you spend the most time in. So, whether that's home, work, social media, friend groups, daily routines. I want to emphasize the friend groups and the daily routines because sometimes you've been friends with people for 20 years and it's more draining to stay in those rooms for too long than it is serving you. And it's okay to audit them. Ask the questions of, does this environment energize me or drain me? Does it align with the person I want to become? What small change could improve it? Awareness creates change. Number two, a social media reset. Unfollow or mute accounts that trigger comparison, negativity, anxiety, and overconsumption. Replace that with content that educates you, inspires you, or calms your nervous system. Your feed on your social media, whether you spend 10 or 15 minutes on it daily or you spend hours throughout the day on it, your feed affects your mindset more than you think. Number three, create a growth routine. Build a simple daily routine that supports your future self. So whether that's a morning silence or a morning prayer, reading, movement, journaling, limiting phone use early in the day, consistency changes identity over time. So just those small little growth routine enhancements really make a difference. Number four, protect your energy circle. Pay attention to who consistently encourages growth, inspires accountability, supports your peace, leaves you feeling lighter after conversations. And notice who consistently drains you. Not everyone can come with you into your next season. And I know that that can be a little bit heavy and maybe even a little difficult to kind of accept. And when I say that not everyone can come with you into your next season, that doesn't mean that they leave your life. That doesn't mean that they're no longer present. It just means that there's a certain part of them that doesn't meet a certain corner of your life, and that's okay too. I recently mentioned a book called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and that book talks a lot about your how your environment matters and the energy and your peace, and it just focuses on those habits and routines and relationships that help you grow through that digital space. This week, I want you to take an honest look at what's feeding your future and what's draining it. Maybe the next version of your life doesn't align with becoming someone completely different. Maybe it begins with changing what you allow around you every single day. Thank you for listening to this episode this week. If you feel encouraged, or maybe it helped you reflect, or it gave you something you needed today, make sure to share it with someone who may also need this reminder. And I want you to remember that you're not stuck. You're growing, even in the small changes that nobody else sees yet. I'll talk to you again next week.